Ever since I discovered BlackRain in 2009, it had been one of my biggest dreams to see them live. While a lot of people at that time were living out their emo phase, I and many others across the world were following the second rising of glam metal. Bands like Crash Diet, Sister and BlackRain were at the forefront of this new movement. BlackRain played a pivotal role in the revival of glam in the 2000s, helping to spread this music across the many cities of France and beyond, and the message that glam metal was back. But BlackRain was different from their contemporaries. Their background in power metal gave their glam phase a hard edge and set them apart from the rest of the bands in the scene. These guys could really play. But what was most impressive to me was the singer, whose natural ability lay at the very top of the vocal scale. Throughout their long career, BlackRain has headlined festivals, performed on France Got Talent, and worked with big names in the industry like Jack Douglas. But BlackRain's real story is a series of ups and downs, and in this interview I asked Swan everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he didn't hold back, so without further ado, here is my interview with Swan Hellion of BlackRain. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an incredibly special guest here with me today, the lead singer of BlackRain, Mr Swan Hellion. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And I've been in holidays in France for like a couple of weeks now. So
Nice, man.
I just got off the table now. We had big fondue. So a lot to eat and a lot to drink. So I'm taking some fresh air right now doing this interview.
Same myself. Raclette. I've been introduced to the joys of raclette and many cheese.
Yeah, all right. Did you like it?
Yeah, I love it. But I'm getting so big.
I know it's a big problem. I never eat so much as when I'm here in my family, so it's actually kind of a little problem. It's basically the double amount of food that I have in Sweden. so it's too much.
It's the same for me. Like in Ireland, I know how to eat well, so I know how to keep my weight at a certain level. But here the products are different. Everything is different. So mainly a diet of cheese and bread.
I know it's I don't know for how long you've been here, but it takes a little bit of time to know where to find the right ingredients and healthy food.
Yeah, man. I've been here since January. I love the country. I love the music scene here, but just there's certain things that I've found a bit strange trying to adjust. Lidl being an expensive place to shop is is a strange one. But
right.
Man, I have been the biggest fan of you and your band for the longest time. So, like, I want to know everything. Like, there's what age were you when you first discovered rock music, and what were the albums that inspired you to get into this kind of music?
Well, it's been so many years. I can never get like the right answer really.
Mm-hmm.
What I usually say is we probably started with Max 2 that recently left the band shortly after we finished high school. And we were basically playing covers. We were a cover band. We didn't have a name. We were big fans of Metallica, Nirvana, Pantera, Sepultura. Yeah. And I think when we started back then, we could basically play the whole Kill 'Em All album. So that's what we were doing, and it was hard because we're from the mountains in France. Yes. Right next to Switzerland, where I stand right now. And it was hard to find musicians. So it was basically my friend and I, and it took a long time to find like a drummer and a bass player that were actually interested to play with us. So I think we started with the first BlackRain lineup back in 2002, maybe. Something like this. So more than 20 years ago. And very quickly, we basically started to make our own songs. And we did record first demo, which was Twilight, Rain and Darkness, if I'm right. So that's how we started this.
I was actually going to ask you about that, because it's like it's a personal goal for me to find a copy of that album, and I can't
Yeah.
find it anywhere. Even the photograph
Nah,
of Discogs is.
it's pretty complicated, you know. It's back then everybody was burning the CDs by at home, which is what we've done. And I remember we did about 500 copies.
Yeah.
And it's all gone, you know, through the years. It's been more than 20 years. So I had a lot, but I gave them away. I mean, I know I have one left. I don't actually have one left myself, but I know my parents, where I stay right now, they have a copy, and that's it. I don't have anything else left, so I have no clue where to find this, basically.
They're out in the ether somewhere.
Yeah. But it was very different music. We were not listening to. I don't think we actually know. We didn't know about those bands like Wasp, Motley Crue back then. Yeah. Because we are children from the 80s, but we grew up in the 90s, and nobody talked about that kind of music back then here in France. So we had to. We didn't have access to that. It was no internet yet. Yeah. Internet was actually, it was the beginning. And nobody talked about those bands back then, so we didn't have a clue about it. So we basically listened a lot to heavy speed metal, like bands like Halloween, Gamma Ray, Sonata Arctica, that kind of things, you know. And
Sonata Arctica.
Yeah, it's a great band. They have great melodies, and they did really great albums. But I think the first demo and the first album we were ever recorded sounded more like that than what BlackRain actually is nowadays, or became.
So in 2006, you guys end up releasing the self-titled EP BlackRain. For me, I think it's got some incredible tracks, a great blend of traditional heavy metal and power metal. All right. What can you tell me about that album?
This album was, I don't think it was meant to be an album. It was, I'm not actually convinced. I can't exactly remember. But it was the first songs we really worked on, like, seriously, and with a little bit more of a artistic direction. Yeah. But we were still into this heavy speed metal kind of inspiration, and we happened to have this friend that was starting to have his home studio, and he insisted to do the record, and it became the first BlackRain record. For some reason, because we sent it all over the place, and it was a couple of record labels that they shown some interest, and they wanted to sign us. It was not serious, but we didn't realize that back then. So we got kind of scammed, but we were so happy. We were so young, and we were getting a first record contract, so it was like it meant we thought we were going to become, you know, big rock stars. So, so we released this album as the first BlackRain album ever, but it didn't turn out that good. And in my opinion, the songs were not that good either. It was a lot of good ideas, a lot of good melodies. You can feel it's BlackRain, but it's we were not experienced enough. And I was not. I was really a bad singer back then, so it was hard to.
Not at all, man.
I was. You have to be honest about things, and I couldn't sing. So yeah.
But 2008 rolls around. You guys released the incredible License to Thrill album. It was the band's first kind of glam sleaze type album. So leading up to this, you've got, the new wave of Swedish sleaze happen with, bands like Crash Diet and Sister. Yeah. What made you guys want to change your look and sound and, be a part of that movement?
Well, it's very simple. It was a gap in between the first BlackRain album and License to Thrill. And during this time period, we discovered all those bands. We knew about Guns N' Roses because they were always very popular. But then we discovered all the LA Guns. Wasp had a big influence on myself, and the other guys as well, and we really we I don't know how to explain. It was like a lightning strike, you know.
Yeah, it clicked.
Yeah, it really did something to our soul, and we were like, damn man, this is what we like to listen to. This is what we listen to when we party. This is what we like to play. Yeah. So we changed a lot of things, and we went to Japan for the first time. Wow. It was our first tour ever. I don't know how we.
For we your had first tour in Japan, wow.
We had a lot of guts back then, and the fact that we played like every night for like a month almost. Yeah. We really realized that this was not the music we wanted to play in BlackRain, this kind of heavy speed metal. Mm-hmm. So during this trip in Tokyo to Japan, we made the decision that we all agreed, except the drummer, that we wanted to go in this License to Thrill direction. Yes. So this is what happened when we got back, basically, home in France. And we changed a lot of things, and I must mention that during this tour in Japan, we were really reckless, and we were partying every day, every night. Yeah. So I don't think I had like a single sober day in Japan.
Oh, wow.
And we were going to this bar that was, the name was the Current Bar. It doesn't exist anymore. But those dudes, they made us discover a lot of bands, and they actually introduced us to Crash Diet as well. Or it was some friends over there and we had no clue that those bands were like actually getting trendy again, or there was something going on with that. So that was our first approach to this glam revival back then when we were in Japan. So when we got back, we changed basically everything.
That's cool.
And I remember. That's when we started to make this True Girls Are 16 kind of songs. It was an idea of my bass player Matt. Yeah, he said this kind of song we have to do, like, you know, it's a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and that's how it works, and that's how it's got to be. And formula. That's what we've done. Yeah, and then we did Innocent Rosie, and, you know, quickly after we had License to Thrill.
Yeah, I remember looking at videos back in the day. You and Sister kind of making videos back and forth to each other and stuff. It was quite a good time.
That was the tour after in Germany, I think, with Sister. It was goddamn wild and reckless. We had no idea, and they had no idea what the fuck they were doing. And I mean, I can remember taking the singer Jamie to the hospital in Germany because he was drinking so much, you know, and he was so young. He was so goddamn young back then. It's funny to say now, but he almost killed himself back then.
Oh wow! Like all of us, I think we made drinking a personal sport. Like, how much can we get into us? And it was crazy. Like we did it over in Ireland as well. And drink was so cheap back in the day too. So you would just throw it into you. And of course you're young as well. So, you know, the consequences of it now. Like, if, you know, because I'm in my 30s, if I drink even 2 beers, headache.
Oh man. Yeah, but it's a question of practicing. If you stop practicing, it's really hard to get back in the game.
True. So, you know, you guys released some incredible music videos for License to Thrill, and those were what really sold me on you guys. You know, Rock Your City, Innocent Rosie. For me, I thought they were like a brilliant dramatization of what everybody thought rock was. How did you guys come up with the concept for them videos?
Well, it was us, you know, it was what we were doing, what we were thinking. It was our state of mind. It was the spirit. I mean, we've been reading maybe one time too much, The Dirt. Yeah. And, you know, we were thinking that we were Mötley Crüe. Like I always say, we were thinking we were Mötley Crüe, but without the money. But we were doing the same kind of drinking and the same kind of bullshit. So
and in France, a very conservative kind of country.
yeah, especially that we're coming from this mountains kind of area. So it was really only us, and we really got like more and more people coming along with us, partying, listening to this music. It was quite incredible, actually, when I think back to that. What was happening at the same time in Sweden was even more incredible. But you can say that what we accomplished here in around our hometown first, then the country, but first our hometown was kind of like completely almost a nonsense. To see those guys with those big hair and makeup driving all around completely drunk and making a mess of all the places we were going to, but people liked it. And people were actually doing the same, and we were having a lot of fun. And in the end, people really liked the music as well. So it was a really weird trend. It was a really weird time that was going on, but I loved it, and I have really good memories of what I can remember about it.
Of what you can remember.
I cannot, I cannot lie. I mean, I'm still today meeting people that I had party with them back then, and I don't remember them at all. But I pretend I remember, but I have no clue who they are. And it happens regularly. It happens often, and I don't know. I never had like a sober time back then, so I don't remember half of the bullshit we've done. But I know it was fun.
You guys have a specific chant, kind of like Queen. Your version of Queen's do do ch. You've got oh hey hey hey. I've seen that present across a number of your songs and in the albums and stuff. What was the main inspiration behind that, and how does it feel when you have a big audience in front of you and you have everybody doing it? What is that feeling like?
Well, it's so this comes. We had it in the song "Rock Your City."
Yeah.
We do not play this song anymore on stage at the moment.
Yes.
It might come back, but we've been playing this for many years. And so this phrase, it came from Japan, man.
Yeah.
It was something going on when we were in Japan. We went to a few like nightclubs, and they were doing this shit in every nightclubs, and it was like so crazy, because over there it was like the whole nightclub, 2,000 people doing this at the same time. On every song the DJ was playing. So we were like, what the fuck are they doing? What is wrong with them? But it was so cool, it was so cool. So we actually immortalized this this Japanese memory in the song "Rock Your City," and I think it was a good hook. It basically works on everything, You can you can put it on over anything. It works. So it was a Japanese influence.
If any metalhead hears that, we automatically know it's you guys, So it's I felt it was important.
I guess that's a good thing. But I've been thinking about putting this tune back in the live set list. So I think we've been missing this this oh hey kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I miss that song myself. I thought it was next in your set when I seen you at the gig.
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, shit, no.
It's we're like so many bands. We've been playing for a long time, and there is tracks that you don't feel like playing anymore. I mean, we've been trying to take away Innocent Rosie, so many times, but we just can't. And we keep it, but for us, it's like it's not that fun anymore.
No, I completely get that. If you do the same thing over and over again, it drives you. Let's talk Lethal Dose. I think Lethal Dose is probably my favorite album of that era, and
interesting.
I think it's fair to say that a lot went into that. It was like a 2 CD album. I thought the look of the band, the production, it all blew me away. Like, what was the inspiration behind Lethal Dose of? What are some of your favorite tracks as well?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of tracks I enjoy in this record. I think it's the first record with real songs, like well structured and basically pretty listenable. But we've encountered a lot of problems during the recording. The first problem was due to our drummer. I guess I can say today that he could never record the drum tracks.
Okay.
So we had to program the drums, and that was the first issue. Then we had issue with the mix of the album, because we sent it to this big American producer.
Yes.
The first plan was to work with Chris Laney, just like License to Thrill, which is what we should have done, but we didn't because we thought we had a better plan. And it turned out that this was a disaster. We got, I think I can say we got scammed.
Yes.
On the mixing thing. And so the product we got back in our hands, it was not listenable. It didn't sound like an album.
Yes.
And we spent all our money into this, so we didn't have any money to remix or to do anything. So that's when we met a producer in Paris, and it changed a lot of things for the band. So we had to move to Paris. We started to go into a studio, to a real studio, to basically mix the album. And I would say half of the album sounds okay, and the other half still sounds, I don't know, like not like a demo, but it sounds old. It doesn't sound modern at all.
It's a bit bittersweet for you.
Yeah, I was never really satisfied about it. But today, when I listen back to the album, I think there's, I did this, I did listen to it like last year, because I don't know why, but I did listen to it, and I was like, wow, we had those great songs, actually. I didn't remember. Some of the songs I had I don't know. I just didn't remember them. And I was like, damn, we were not so bad. It was actually really good. So that's how we did the recording of Hot Rock Time Machine. Yeah. Because I listened to that, and I was like, damn, it's actually, it would be really worth it to put back, on the streaming platforms, some of the songs, because it was really good material. It was just not well recorded. So. Yeah.
Like, you guys did a lot that year. You just had the Overloaded music video, I think an acoustic tour, and of course the Alhambra gig for me. The Alhambra gig was legendary, because I mean you guys had Crash Diet, Kiss and Dynamite, and you guys were arguably three of the biggest names in that genre during this time, and the production of it, everything, I loved it. And what does it take to put a show like that together, and were you happy at the end result of it?
Yeah, it was it was a very stressful period. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I remember it was a lot of work. This producer we had from Paris, it was his idea. Yeah. So I can say he's done a great job for that. He was an old guy, and he had experienced the 70s, the 80s with big names. So he basically knew what he was talking about and where he was going. And that was a great idea. But it was a lot of work, man. It was a lot of work. We've been rehearsing for this for weeks. And, I guess just like the big American bands were doing back then. Yeah. Everything was planned. It was nothing left. Nothing was random. It was a lot of work behind, and a lot of ideas. So it's a very good memory, and I think we were very happy. I know I had a tough time singing this evening because it was a lot going on. I didn't really know how to warm up my voice back then, and I had a terrible time on stage. I can remember that. But overall, it's a very good memory and a very nice video.
Yeah, like looking back over it, I looked at, in preparation for this, and everything was just perfect. You guys were just so dialed in live. Everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's something we are thinking about again, actually. So we are thinking about it. It's a lot of work, but we're gonna try to do this again. Maybe next year or this year. Now we're in 2025, so we have this plan in the bag. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but we're gonna try with some nice bands as well. It was tough as well to work with the Crash Diet guys back then. Yeah, because our producer was very much it was a tough guy to deal with. Yes. He was not an easy dude, and he was totally against drugs, against excess. Yes. which was funny in a way because I was very much into that kind of things. And that day when we played with Crash Diet, it was, I mean, for them, it's when they came to the venue, they were in the middle of a tour and they were fucked up. I mean, I remember exactly when they arrived at the venue, they were so fucked up that I think I had to give guitar picks to Martin because he didn't have any. Oh, fuck. They forgot their backdrop in the venue the day before. It was only shit like that, and I think it's that day because our manager, our producer was such an asshole with them that Eric actually smashed the door with his fist and got his fist broken.
Oh, beautiful.
I think that's what he's talking about in a song on a Crash Diet album. I don't remember which one, but I guess the album they made next after Generation Wild.
There was a few videos that leaked of the Alhambra gig with Simon Cruz on stage, and he looked an absolute mess. He was I think he was singing "Shake It Up, Baby," and
absolutely. Yeah, we did. He came on stage with us to do that, I think. Yeah. That was a good that was a good one. But we had a nice little party after at the bar, and it was okay. But I know it was a tough time between them and our manager. And after that, it's if I remember, I think they had a hard time to get paid for that gig, and it went a bit it was a bit of a bad times between us because of that. But I did my best to sort things out, and in the end, I don't remember how it ended up, but it was a tough time that day because they were very much into the rock and roll spirit.
Yes, to put it nicely,
out of control.
No, that's fair. It's fair. How did you guys end up crossing paths with Jack Douglas?
Basically, thanks to our producer I was talking previously. So this guy from Paris, he's got the opportunity to work with Jack Douglas through some artists. I think the Aerosmith guitarist. I can't remember his name, but
Joe Perry.
Not Joe Perry. It was another one that has been in the band for just a little while and as a replacement. I can't remember his name, but they made an album, and this is how he knew Jack Douglas back in the days, and they were in bad terms because back then in the late 70s, it was so much drugs involved that Jack Douglas was like a mess. And the funny story is, I think our producer back then, he gave like a whole suitcase full of cash to them to record the album because that was the way they were dealing back then. And I think it was about $30,000, and they took the suitcase and they basically about for $20,000 of drugs. So they did drugs during like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And the last week they had left in the studio, they used the $10,000 to actually record the album. So they did the record in a week, and it sounded like shit.
I think I remembered reading about that. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It's in the Does the Noise in My Head Bother You? That album.
I have no. Yeah, I don't remember exactly who it was and how it happened, but Jack Douglas told us about it later on when we recorded the released album, and he was very honest about that. So they left in bad terms because the album sounded like shit. Our producer didn't have any money left, and basically the guys, they were a mess and they didn't care about anything but drugs. So it ended up like that. And when he started to actually get involved into the BlackRain business, after Lethal Do's off, it was like, okay, we got to step up and we need to do something. We're like really big. We need to do something the others, can't do. And he just tried to get in touch with Jack, and Jack just answered, and he was like, yeah, I'm up for it. So that's how it happened. It was really nice. A really great experience to meet Jack Douglas.
So, leading up to It Begins, or sometime around the release, you guys made the decision to go on the France Has Talent show.
Yeah.
Were you satisfied with your experience playing on that show? Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's maybe one in a lifetime experience. I don't know, but it was really big. It was very stressful, and it was unexpected. It was the team around us that I think our press agent that had the idea, that had the contact, and we didn't believe into this at all. We were like, this is never gonna work. They're gonna fire us directly.
Yeah.
But we did the first tryout, and they were like, 3 years, and so it led us to the final basically. So 3 big TV shows with a lot of people watching. I think it was like 3 or 4 millions every time, and it's an incredible way to promote your band. So
it was quite ballsy of you to use all the new material for France Got Talent. I thought that was very bold, and I thought that was really cool too, to do that, to say, here, I have a new record, this is the new material, I'm not playing anything else, this is it. Like, that was cool.
We it was the big deal about it, because they didn't want that in the beginning. They usually ask bands to play covers, but we really fought our way through to actually go there with our own songs. So that was the most important thing for us. I don't think we would have done it if it was about playing a cover, actually.
Did becoming television famous benefit the band? Did you notice an increase in popularity at all?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was that's when you realize that it's all bullshit. It gives you a very sad perspective on the human mind, and you get a lot of likes on the social media. That's for sure. And the day after, everybody in the streets, they know about you, but they're not going to buy the records, and they're not going to come to the show. They are basically just coming to you because you've been on TV. You're the guy on TV. And, when they come to you and they stand next to you and take a picture with you, it's a weird way to say it, but it's like they're on TV as well, because they are with the guys that has been on TV. So that's all about it. And I can tell you, the day after, I was at the supermarket, and it was those guys in the city where I lived.
Yeah.
I used to see them every day, and they usually just look down on me.
Yes.
Or maybe just they just passed me by and never say hi. But the day after, they were like acting like my best friend.
Yeah, it's the he
and
was
I
on
thought
television
it was,
mentality.
yeah, it was pretty disgusting in my opinion. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is what TV brought
Hmm. But,
mainly.
let's talk about released. Leading up to the
Mhm.
album released, you know, you put out a promotional video on YouTube to raise money for the album.
Yeah,
In your own words, the album was going to be the best you'd ever made. It was going to be have the feel of License to Thrill, Lethal Dose of, and It Begins. Do you
but
feel
it was
that?
not.
Okay, that was my question. Do you feel like it delivered? Were you happy with that album?
Back then, I was happy. I mean, we were not happy with the mixing and the way
Yeah.
it sounded at the end. So we were very happy with the songs, with the demo songs.
Yes.
The album sounds, you know, it doesn't sound modern. It
Yeah.
sounds like a record from the 70s, and I mean, it sounds big in a way, but it
Uh-huh.
doesn't sound big in a way like a 2015 album. It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like that. So we were a little bit disappointed.
Hmm.
It was very hard to deal with Jack Douglas for the
Okay.
mixing. It was like, you hire me, so you hire my sound.
Yes.
And this is how it's going to sound. So we didn't get like this modern way of sounding that we were looking for. And
Yeah.
we were disappointing. We were disappointed. That's for sure. It
Yeah.
was not what we expected exactly. And especially we did the trip to LA to do the mix for like a month. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
But in the end, it didn't sound like we wished it would have. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's a great album, but it's definitely different. You know,
It's
something else.
yeah, it's different, but I mean, I think the sound of it has a lot to do with it,
Yeah.
the mixing.
There's something else that was different. You know, maybe it's silly to bring it up, but there was a noticeable tone down in the overall image of the band. The image, you guys used to, you looked like your music sounded, if that makes sense. So, you know, what made you guys want to step away from the glam image and, you know,
Well, it
tone
was
down?
it was a tough time actually. It's we parted way with this manager.
Yes.
And basically he invested so much in the band that everything we had belonged to him. So from a day to another, we had nothing left. Like we didn't have an instrument left, you know. We didn't have a guitar left. So it was really tough. So we changed everything from a day to another because we were like, okay, we want to go ahead. We want to forget. We want to do something new and to just to keep going. So I guess it was the mood. It was the state of mind back then, and we went into it. And it was a transition. I guess it was a moment of transition.
Let's talk Die and Breed, right? 3 years later, you guys drop Die and Breed. For me, it's incredible. It really felt like you guys came back stronger in this album than released. The artwork, the songs, the music videos, all incredible. I found the song Die and Breed in particular fascinating. I found myself looking over the lyrics a few times over, in particular the lyrics, I think I witnessed the decline of a civilization. We're mourning a lost generation. We're the last of our kind. What do you mean by those lyrics?
Well, the songs it was basically about this glam sleaze movement that, you know, revival that came back in 2008 or whenever. I guess I had the chance to witness this revival, to be part of it. And today, I mean, back then during the recording of Dying Breed, it was already actually really, you know, going down. You could really tell that it was not as good as it was before, not as strong. It was, people didn't listen as much as to those bands. People were not dressing the same way, and the trend was dying. So that's when you can as well tell that it was a trend. and
Yeah.
that's very interesting in a way. But when you witnessed those crazy parties in Stockholm back then, when everybody like a full bar, dress up with makeup and big hair, and just knows all about those bands from the 80s when people were actually not born. So that was a crazy time. That was a crazy thing to witness, and I think it was really sad to see that it was dying so fast. So
for me, when I see people like us, like rockers, it doesn't seem to mean the same now, like as it did for us. Like back in the day, if I seen you, I'd know that you're into rock and roll, metal. But when I see people dressed exactly the same now, they're more a part of the LGBT movement, right? Like it's just different. I myself, in my 30s now, I feel very disconnected, I guess, from what it all is and what it's meant to be.
Yeah, the music in general is very much related to the society you live in.
Yeah.
So what people does, the way people think, it's constantly evolving. And today is a very different. We're living in a very, very different time. It's just a few years ahead, but it's like completely different than what it was in the 2010. So that's crazy. But no, today I don't enjoy music as much as I did back then. I agree that everybody's dressed the same way. It's like going to a show to see a new band is like going to see your neighbor playing on stage. There's nothing. I mean, there is great bands, but it's a new time. It's different, and I think it's a little bit less good. I mean, I never listened to music that was made in my time. Mostly when I was not born, and I still think that this music, it was something very different in the mentalities. So people were probably happier. They were probably more reckless, and you can feel that in in the attitude, in the lyrics, and in the music itself. So of course today it's a very different times we live in, much darker.
And like I try to make it at a point to mention new bands as well, like in our scene. Not many people seem to want to do that. They seem to only want to listen to what happened in the 80s and then gloss over everything during the 2000s, which is strange to me. And then they'll ask the question, oh, why is rock dying? But
it's a very good question. I don't know if anybody has the right answer, but it has to do with the society we live in. That's I'm sure about. And it's the technologies are different. The way of doing things are different. The mentalities are different. People are educated another way, and it plays a big role in the whole thing. Today you don't make money out of rock and roll.
No.
Or you can, but it's very, very difficult. So you make more money if you have a bit of attitude, buy a computer, and be a DJ.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's set up that way now.
You get much more chances to become like a rock star or someone rich and famous by doing something easy like that. So it's a side of the business that I don't like.
Yeah, like I talked about it in one of my videos. I basically explained how I think it works. Everybody who's on a major label, anything that's owned by Universal, they have the monopoly on the industry. All the mainstream radio stations will only play from the chart, right? So a band like BlackRain or even Harsh, can't get a look in because it's this perpetual cycle of wealth that you just can't break into, because you need to make it all goes by sales, right? So if you sell a certain amount, you guys will get on the radio, right? Unless it's
I don't know. I don't know if it's like this or if it's it's I don't know. I don't think it's about the selling, because who really sells? It's more about the streams. So it's about getting millions of streams on every platforms. And then, I mean, it's still the guys on the radio and on TV that decides who they're gonna show, and they don't show music anymore.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
I mean, you can't force people either. I mean, you can influence them, and you can. They will probably eat what you give them to eat, but who decides that? So I mean, in the 80s it was MTV, and when MTV decided to show grunge instead of glam metal or whatever you call it, there was no glam metal left, just a couple of bands. And that's not because of the people, it's because people only had grunge to eat.
Pretty much.
So they eat grunge, and of course maybe it went with the society by then, which was people were feeling, and they were feeling less like partying, but more like angry and more about to do some kind of revolution. I don't know. But it's you can't fight that. And I mean, the media has the power. They has the power to give people. It's like propaganda.
Yes.
So if tomorrow they decide to play grunge, they will play grunge, but or rock and roll. But just 1 second, bro. I see.
Yeah. Take time, man.
I see. I fucked up the jack. I'm back.
Cool, man.
All right.
So throughout the history of Blackrain, we've seen people come and go. You know, your first drummer, your second drummer. You know, more recently Max. But you know, the guys you have now are really great. Can you tell me a bit about them?
Yeah. Well, we our new drummer, Frankie Constanza. Well, he's been with us for more than a year, maybe 2 years now. I don't know. Time goes so fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
but we knew him for quite a long time. Not very well, but we knew him, and we both, followed each other's, because he's one of the best drummer we have in France.
Yeah.
He's very popular. He's much more popular than BlackRain. So, but we knew he was a big glam metal fan. He's a big 80s fan. So we actually wanted to ask him to join the band back to the It Begins era. Yeah. But we didn't dare. He had a lot of things to do. His band was going strong back then. So we didn't even get the chance to ask him. But this time it was like there was a lot of good drummers,
Yeah.
But nobody had the good style. Everybody had short hair.
Yeah.
And we didn't want that. So so we just asked him, and he was like, yeah, for sure, man. It's my dream to play in like some kind of 80s kind of band. So
that's cool.
He said, yeah, let's give it a try. So we are very proud about that, and we're very happy. And the guitarist, it's like completely crazy. I mean, we knew Max was not so much into it, like, for at least a couple of years. It's been a long time. But he's been really tough with him, because he's my almost a childhood friend. I mean, I started the band with him. So to have him leaving was like, it raised a lot of questions for us, for Matt and myself. It was like, well, we're getting older. We're having families. We have less time. We still don't make enough money. So should we continue? Should we just do like him? He's the guy from the start. He's leaving. So I don't know. We were talking about it 2 days ago, and it was like we were talking about this with Matt, that we're gonna have to find a new guitarist on like Messenger or something. And the second after, we got this those guitarists in our feeds, on Instagram and stuff. So I guess the phone is really, spying on us.
Yeah.
And so it was a good thing because yeah, it showed us this crazy guitarist, young and good looking and
Yeah.
crazy talented from from this area where we live, where we're from. So we're
Wow.
like, wow,
Okay.
okay. So we just yeah, I took the chance to ask him, do you want to try to play some gigs with us, just to play some guitar and to act in the role of Jesus sometimes on stage with us. And
Yeah.
he was up for it, and so we actually started to know him like this. He was a great guy, and then it comforted Max in the idea that he really wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And if he felt safe about the fact that he could leave, and we had someone to replace him like really good.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
It's I'm glad that BlackRain is still going, and I'm glad that you've got two amazing new people in the band. You're known for your incredibly high vocal range, and you seem to be able to do it naturally. How do you keep your voice in such great shape?
It's not natural. I'm a really bad singer from the start, so it's a lot of work.
Oh man,
I have a lot to learn. I'm not good enough, so I have a lot of difficulties when I play on stage. If it's like almost a 2 hours kind of gig, I really need to control myself, not move too much, not run too much on stage, because if I do that, like I like to do it, I get out of breath and I can't reach those notes anymore because I'm out of breath. So the gigs with BlackRain's, they requires a lot of self-control for me to stay in front of the mic and not do too much for the first half of the show at least, in order to keep the voice. So it's not natural. It's a lot of work. If you don't work like, I would say almost every day, not every day, but almost every day, you lose it pretty fast. You lose the endurance pretty fast.
So ever since Dying New Breed came out, it seems like the band's been on a roll. It's been music video after music video. Same with the albums. We have Untamed and the new greatest hits type album, Hot Rock Time Machine. The earlier years of the band, for me, are, it's incredible, but it's fair to say that the last few years for the band, you guys have made really good strides on the internet, like, Untamed nearly having 500,000 views, I believe.
It's close to 700,000.
Wow, like that's better than you did back in the day, I think, right?
Yeah, it's the best we ever done. So it's good. It's not like exceptional, but it's okay.
Yeah,
it's better than a lot of actually other bands, like bigger bands. So yeah, we're satisfied.
How does it make you feel to know that, like, even after all this time, there's still interest in the band? Like, people still like you guys and want to see us.
Well, this is part of the reason why we keep going.
Yeah.
If we didn't sell anything, if we didn't stream anything, I mean, or if you look at our streams on Spotify, it's not really great. But we still sell albums, like vinyls, and I think the reason why the balance is like this is because the audience is older.
Yeah.
We see that on the numbers, and so there's people listening to us. And I mean, we are playing, we don't play so many gigs, but when we play gigs, there is people. So most of the time it's quite good. Yeah. So we keep going. We still have people around us, like they're motivated. They see something in the band. They want to work with us. We don't force anybody, So even the record label thinks, like, the new songs that we have now that we're about to release this year, they think it's really strong and they want to be part of it. So we keep going for now.
Yeah. Like, out of the vast catalog of music that you have now, like, what are some of your favorite songs to perform live?
It's a good question, but I think Blast Me Up is always like a great track to perform. Untamed is definitely great. I would say Untamed, Kiss the Sky, and Dawn of Hell They're really, really pleasant to play on stage.
Yeah.
Then there's, you know, the track Summer Jesus. It's actually, for some reason, people seem to really enjoy it. Maybe because Jesus is on stage with us. I don't know. But it's always a lot of, the reactions are always very good.
Yeah.
So that's a nice one as well. And I don't know which one is good as well. But I mean, we enjoy playing everything. Then the reaction of the audience is different from track to track, and sometimes it's hard to know why.
Yeah.
When you do your best to play them, and if you don't do too many mistakes, the reactions are never the same, really. So on some tracks.
So, you know, BlackRain has been on a number of labels over the years, and you've toured all over Europe and Sweden, the UK. Do you feel like the music industry has treated your band fairly?
Well, they treated our bands like any other bands. So we never had like great. We never been treated like, you know, very nice, or I don't know how to say, but
yeah.
We've been scammed many times, like all the other bands. It's a shitty business today.
Yeah.
The difference is with us is we are very aware of how it works, and we are very aware of how labels make money on small bands.
Yeah.
Even though they don't sell much, we know how they do make money. So we know where is our interest and where is their interest. Of course, there is less and less purpose and reasons to work with record label today. So unless they are putting a lot of money on the table, which can happen, it can happen, but it doesn't most of the time. Unless they do that, there's almost no interest to work with record labels. Unless
is
they're
it
really
better
good,
to stay independent? Is it better to stay independent if you're a new band?
Well, since we released like this Hot Rock Time Machine album,
yes,
we know that we do as good as with a very small independent label, than with a bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we basically sell and stream kind of the same if we do it by ourselves.
Like when you make a music video and say Steamhammer uploads it, will you ever see any of that revenue, or does it all go back to them?
Now we see a little bit of it, for sure.
Oh,
they are, I mean, SPV, Steamhammer.
Mm-hmm.
We like them. We like the guys, and we had good relationship. We're happy about what they do. I mean, their job is good. We know what they do. We know what to expect, and everything is, is done by the book.
Nice.
We don't expect too much. Everybody is very, very much down on earth. So the YouTube thing is actually one of the things that we see. We usually get more views if our videos is uploaded on their channel. Yeah. Because they have much bigger channel than ours. Mm-hmm. So we know it gets kind of bigger, more streamed if it's uploaded on their channel. Yeah.
Like unfortunately there are fans of this genre. I mentioned it earlier, but there's people who are a fan of this genre who only believe the bands that came up in the 90s are the only bands that are valid in this. What do you say to that kind of a fan who believes that BlackRain may not have what it takes to, when you compare it to, say, Guns N' Roses or any of them? How would you convince a fan of that era to listen to BlackRain? What would you say?
To listen, I mean, I can't really, I can only say give it a listen. Yeah. Come to the show and give it a listen. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Yeah. I understand you might not like it, but the best thing I could do is to maybe force MTV back in and to force them with a gun on the head to play the band. And I'm sure a lot of people will like it.
Yeah, man.
But
I think so too.
I can't force anyone, and I can't convince anyone really like this. You just have to listen to it. I mean, it's different. So you like it or not? BlackRain, it's a band. It's very much focused on the melodies.
Yeah.
And if you like that kind of things, it's a kind of modern way of playing the Beatles, you know. I don't know. It's we're very much influenced by the 60s and the 70s nice. with the modern kind of sound. So it's a mix of everything we like. So I don't know how to convince people to get into it, you know.
Mm-hmm. So what are your goals for the future of BlackRain?
We have a great album.
Yeah.
We just recorded a great album. It's not completely finished. I think I'm gonna have one more track to add to what we have already.
Nice.
We've made a lot of tracks. We're not gonna use them all, but some of the tracks we have now is like definitely the tracks I prefer from the band.
Yeah.
And it's very different.
Yeah,
I must say it might maybe not shock, but some people might not expect this from us. Some people won't enjoy it, I guess, because it's always like that. I know what they expect. They expect Hellfire and Untamed. That's what they want.
Yeah.
So we will give them this. We will give them this, but we will give them something else as well. And this something else is what we want to do. It's what we really like in the band. All the members in the band agree to that. So it's something you never heard in BlackRain, probably.
Have you got a working title for the album, or will that all be revealed later, sort of thing?
We're not sure. We have artwork. I just actually just watched the first video just before I got to the interview with you.
Nice.
We shot 2 videos, and one just got in the final step of editing.
Oh wow, nice.
So we have a lot ready. We have
Brilliant.
a lot on the way, and it's very good in my opinion. It's very good. For some people, it's not going to be good, I guess, but it's always the same deal.
Man, you have to take that risk as well. I mean, you play the music that they love, but you've got to do it for yourself too. That's why you're in it. So no, I'm excited to hear what you got.
Yeah, exactly.
I suppose my last question is: Have you any gigs coming up this year that you want to tell people about?
I'm the wrong person to ask, but okay. But I saw that we have at least 3 upcoming concerts, and one in Switzerland, one in the middle of France, and I saw we're gonna probably play the last what it's called, Glamfest Festival in Belgium.
Okay,
the Wild
cool.
Fest. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
The Wild Fest. It's going to be the last edition, and I think we're part of it. So that's
nice.
That's a great and bad news at the same time.
Yeah, man. Well, it's been a pleasure, Swan. Thank you very much for doing this, and I hope I didn't keep you too long.
It's cool. It's my fault, bro. It's me. I can't help but speaking.
No, I love this.
But, thank you very much for your interest. It means a lot to me, and I was looking forward to do this interview with you. So thank you very much.
Me too, my friend. And I'll definitely be at the next Toulouse gig anyway.
Yeah, great. That sounds good. You just have to tell me. I get you on the guest list.
Oh hell yeah, man. Cool.
All
right, we'll leave it at that. Right. So
yeah,
take care.
I wish you a good new year.
Same for you.
Bye.
Bye.